Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Weishuhn. If you enjoy real-world hunting and fishing talk, you're really going to enjoy listening to my good friend, Luke Clayton, and his guest for the next hour.
This is David Fox, and welcome to Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Luke has been a recognized outdoors writer for the past 3 decades and writes for a host of outdoor publications. Luke pens a weekly newspaper outdoors column that appears in over 40 Texas newspapers. Luke is on the pro staff of Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything air gun related. Smoking techs, electric smokers, feel free to contact Luke through his website, catfishradio.org. Now let's join Luke and his guests for this week's show.
Well, guys, thank you all a lot for that nice introduction. And friends, welcome to our show today. We've got some interesting guests lined up. We're going to kind of cover the gamut on topics. Hunting and fishing is going to be the mainstay. And Mr. Larry Weishuhn is right out of, a week or so back, the Dallas Safari Club, the summer get-together there at in Grapevine. So Larry's standing by. I think he's down. Larry, are you down at the Cotton Ranch relaxing this morning?
I am down at the Cotton Ranch this morning. Got spending some time up here looking at deer, meeting with the state biologist, and also sighting in my 10-point crossbow, getting ready for a bear hunt that we're going to do on the Choctaw here in that first week of August. But have to tell you, look, the DSC Foundation and DSC Summer Show went extremely well. We had tremendous number of people there. I mean, it was elbow to elbow at time or two, and thankfully raised lots of money for the DSC Foundation, which grants money to all kinds of worthwhile conservation and education programs. And with that said, I have to tell DSC thank you. Conservation education, hunter advocacy had been one of our sponsors for a long time. Hornady, I'll come back to that in just a little bit. The Stealth Vision, they were there, and I think they had a great show as well, too. And the guys from Taurus and were graciously donated through Rossi some rifles that we were able to include in certain packages. And then Vineyard Max, of course, was there as well, too. And as was the Choctaw Hunting Lodge guys. So, but I wanted to come back to Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable, because Steve Hornady ended up buying a hunt, which we're calling, or hunt and fishing trip, both, which we're calling the Choctaw McNabb. They'll take place in 26. And there will be an effort there from Steve to try to take a buffalo, shoot a eastern wild turkey, and catch a fish all in the same time, all in the same day. And we're calling that the Choctaw McNabb, named after the Scottish McNabb from a long time. It started a long time ago over in Scotland. But again, there were so many people there, and of course, really want to thank Steve Hornady and his family as well too, because they not only bought that hunt, they bought a bunch of others, and just, oh my God, it was just a fantastic event. We had so many people there, got to visit with so many different people, and oh gosh, I'm telling you, it was out of this world good. I think they're going to have it again next year, and of course we'll have our DSC regular convention in February this year, or next year, should I say, and 26 again in Atlanta, and a lot of people started planning for that one as well too. So now's a good time to start doing that, but a lot of good things coming up. There's still some hunting and fishing, and I'm going to let you kind of lead in, because you were so graciously helped us with getting a couple of different fishing trips set up that we were able to put out on our silent auction that went extremely well as well, too.
You bet. Oh, yeah. It was a lot of combination of a lot of people getting together and helping the cause there. That's exactly what it was. And we did. Bill Carey, Bill was actually present. Striper Express, he was there. I had a booth there, and he called me a couple of times and said, bragging on the event there at I guess, the Gaylord, that's where it was.
It was a Gaylord, Texas.
Yes, yeah. I wasn't able to make it. I had some stuff the family opera stuff that I had to take care of, and I couldn't make it. I sure missed the evening event there. I know, I think Dusty and Nicole with Choctaw Hunting Lodge were there, right?
Yes, I had them at my table, as I did the folks from had the Cotton family, both Mr. Edgar and David and their wives. Kim and Miss Linda, and then had Dusty and Nicole there, and then also Dr. John McCall,
Yeah.
with and Joe Cunningham,
Yeah,
of course,
Joe.
with Stealth Vision, and then our old friend Rick Lambert. I had Rick. Rick was kind of my date that night. My wife.
Oh my God.
So I called Rick and said, "Hey, Mr. Lambert, would you consider being my date at my table for the DOC Foundation Gala?" And he graciously showed up, and we had an absolute blast as a result of all that as well.
Good.
Too.
That's good. I'm sorry I missed it. I would have loved to have been there. You know that.
Oh yes, sir. I know you would have loved to have been there, and you were missed, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah. So Alan Ballard. Alan is up in Lamar County. Has been a friend of mine forever.
Yes,
he donated a trip to Boat Ark, the New Lake, or Pat Mace. Either one, whoever bought that with Alan is going to have a great time. He's been guiding forever, but you met him at our outdoor rendezvous, this past year, and that's where he
absolutely
actually donated a day of his life, taking somebody fishing for the cause of the Dallas Safari Club. Omar Carter, who I did an article on, and we filmed a downrigging show with Omar, Luck of the Irish. He also is donated a trip. Somebody's going to have some fun with Mr. Omar for sure. And then what can I say? Bill Carey, Striper Express, they're going to catch some stripers when they go up there. So thanks to all those guys. Larry, I talked to Paul Moore. It's the time of year when all deer hunters, we're all thinking about deer hunting. We are. The bucks are pretty much branched out pretty good. Of course, they're still in velvet, but that won't be lasting too much longer. Before long, that velvet's going to start going, and we're going to get a look at some what kind of horns, as we Texans call these antlers, what kind of horns we got coming up. But Paul Moore, they were up in Montague County, north of Nocona, at their new lease there. My old buddy from way back, Matt Brown, and you're on that lease too, but they got all set up. Paul I felt like I was there with them. They did a lot of work. Moved their campers in, hooked water wells all operational. They've got feed pens around some of their Vineyard Max deer feeders, and they said they saw some deer. Larry, they described some does at 130 pounds on the hoof, and I've seen them up there on that river. They are some big old deer. So you guys are going to not only have some prime venison and a lot of deer to hunt, but also I think I just would bet somebody's going to be shooting, a bunch of you guys are going to be shooting some mature deer, some bucks up there.
There's no doubt about that. I got a call from Paul as he was coming back, and they'd just gotten a call from his son, Colin. Of course, they got all kinds of trail cameras they're putting up there, and they put out Vineyard Max, and like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he called me like at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I guess, and said, "Hey, guess what? We've already got deer on Vineyard Max." So it didn't take them long to find it. And he was describing a really nice, looked probably like about a 3 or 4 year old 10-point that was there with 4 does. And he said, I got a feeling that's going to be one heck of a place. Of course, there's no better bait out there when you get right down to it. And it's nutritious for the deer than Vineyard Max. So, I can't wait to see what we're going to pull out of there. My goal is to sit on the Texas side of the Red River and rattle horns and try to rattle a buck out of Oklahoma. So that's my primary goal for hunting up there this year, besides trying to, hopefully it'll be a big mature deer as well too. But I know I'm going to be trying to shoot a couple of does up there as well too.
That's what it's all about. We have to make plans on these hunts,
yes, sir.
It may not pan out just exactly like we're thinking, but we got to have a plan. So, my plan is Paul invited me up there, from the get go with you guys, and during the, I'm just thinking about one of those big fat 130-pound venison does. I mean, when I say venison does, I'm thinking about some steaks and roast and stuff, and maybe some sausage, from Kubi's game processor there in Dallas. But I don't care if I'd go up there just to spend time with you guys. But maybe in December or something like that, we'll get off up there. That's what, and ease off up there and have a day or two of hunting up on the Red River. Matt Brown, who is the owner of that ranch, is a longtime friend of mine, as you know, Larry. He used to run the S.M. Brown Game Bird Ranch. Now, that's where I got to know Matt back 30 years ago. Bob Hood, who was the outdoor writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, was good friends with Matt, and I became good friends with him years ago. We'd go up there, but I never hunted deer. Bob did. He'd shot some nice deer, and I remember Matt saying, Bob Hood we're talking about, he said, Bob, different type. He said he'd just get out there. He didn't worry about any deer stands. He didn't really want one. He'd get out there and lean up against an oak tree looking over a pecan orchard or wherever he was at. And he said he'd sat there for hours until he shot a buck. And I know another guy like that too, named Mr. Whitetail,
Yeah, they've got up all kinds of fancy stands, which I truly appreciate. When it's really too cold or too wet
to
sit out in the open. But the rest of that time, you're going to find me sitting somewhere on the ground.
Yep, where you can see what's going on and
can get up and move around a little bit. And hopefully, like I said, we're going to I'm going to spend my primary time up there is going to be probably that week or so before Thanksgiving, because generally that's when those deer are coming to horns up in that part of Texas. And so I'm really hoping that I can rattle up a bunch of bucks. And I know some of the guys on the lease have never seen bucks rattled up, so I'll probably take some of those guys with me and say, okay, we're going to go see what we can bring in. But it's a large enough place where we can roam around. And that place, too, they do a great job, primarily in the cattle business now. And so they do a lot of planting, like wheat and oats and winter peas and all kinds of things. It's really some of the only green planted food in that part of the state right there in that area. And so I got a feeling that's going to pull a lot of deer, and then particularly does, and that'll probably pull a bunch of bucks in as well, too.
Oh, boy, I can just imagine by December when after everything's, a lot of the hard mast is gone, I bet you those fields are going to be covered up in deer up there.
Oh, they will be.
It's not been leased for hunting. They take a couple of $3 a year off of it. Matt and his buddies have. But, no, right. I really think it's going to be a banner season up there, and I know a lot of people listening they're thinking about where they're going to hunt. We want to wish everybody a happy season, but it's prep time right now. It's time to get to check the roof on that old cabin that you lease, or maybe your roof on your RV might need a little tar, a little sealant on it, and get that propane stove working. And it's just time to get ready. I really am not on a lease per se, but I hunt a lot of places now. But I used to enjoy, that part of deer hunting, getting the camp set up, a lot. And now my camp is a little cabin out behind the house, and I'm hunting 200 or 300 acres within a mile of my house a lot, and then getting to go with you guys a lot too. So it's going to be a good season, Larry.
It is. It truly is. And of course, all of that campfire time is what makes all the hunt that much more worthwhile. And as you mentioned too, right now is a really good time to get that Hornady ammo that you're going to shoot this year, and maybe a Mossberg rifle if you're looking for a new gun, and getting out there and shooting and getting familiar with both the putting the scope on it, like the stealth vision, and getting familiar with that gun, knowing where it shoots at different ranges from close to a little bit farther out there, or that bow or that crossbow, and spend a little time practicing, because it'll certainly all pay off here in just not very many days.
You bet, Larry. Well, they're telling me it's time to shut our campfire down for this week, but thank you a lot. Enjoy your morning up there in Kaufman County. That's where you're at this morning, and we'll join everybody right back here next week at the same time.
Yes, we will.
Well, friends, Mr. Larry Weishuhn is going to tell you about the finest hunting optics that we have ever found.
Luke, these are called Stealth Vision. They come from Crockett, Texas. Dr. John McCall developed them. They're 34-millimeter tubes as opposed to the narrower tubes, so more light transmission. they have a little green light that comes on. That scope is leveled because that's when you want to pull the trigger. They have an optional lighted reticle as well too, and a whole lot of other products. And folks can learn more about them by going to stealthvision.com.
Friends, I want to tell you about an awesome camping destination, Wind Point Park on Lake Tawakoni. It's over on the far east side, kind of the northeast side of the lake. It's a pristine park. You can go there and view, I think they estimated a couple of hundred deer on that couple of hundred acres there. Cabins, beautiful RV park, fishing piers, docks. It's got everything you'd want in an outdoor destination. Check them out online at windpointparktx.com. Folks, I want to introduce you to Vineyard Max. Now, this is an awesome deer attractant, a food attractant that's made with hammer-milled grape skin, dried hammer-milled grape skins. It has a mixture of rice bran and also corn chops. Very effective. Deer can smell the scent of grapes from a long way, and it brings them in. I've used it in West Texas out with Larry Weishuhn, and we were out there where deer are not even exposed to grapes, and they came right in. Also, Vineyard Max has a very good line of game and fish feeders. Check them out online, vineyardmax.net. Folks, this segment is made possible by Smoking Tex electric smokers that I've been using a long, long time, Catfish Pro, catfishing baits, and catfish supplies, Ultramatic feeders. I'd like you to check out the big bore air gun that I've done a great deal of hunting with. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw, 50 caliber, pressures up to 3,000 psi, and it looks like a conventional rifle. Wooden stock. I think you'll like the appearance, and I know you'll like the performance. It shoots not only bullets, but also air bolts as well, tipped with a broadhead. Check it out. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw. Well, folks, it's always good to get Mr. Whitetail, my buddy Larry, on, talking deer hunting and all kind of fun stuff, even a little hog hunting from time to time. But it's now time to shift gears a little bit and talk some fishing with another longtime friend of mine, Mr. David Hanson. I've fished with David for a quarter of a century. I know David's the most veteran catfish guide at Lake Tawakoni. I think that's a true statement. But he also fishes over at Lake Fork, which is nearby. Thought it'd be fun to get David on, talk some summer catfishing. David, thank you, buddy, for being with us.
Always a pleasure, Luke.
Always love to get you on. We've been sharing information and sharing fishing trips and everything else for many, many years. One thing that's interesting to me, David, is the fact that you've got a program in the summer to go fishing in the shade instead of being out in that bright sun over at Lake Fork, and I want you to talk about that. Now, I'll say this about fishing in the summer. I'm not a young man anymore. When I was even, I did not like to be out after, it's easy to be in an air-conditioned place and say, hey, I want to fish all day. Well, even when I was a young whippersnapper, by about 10:30 or 11 in August, it's hot. But
yes,
you know how to beat the heat, don't you, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about it.
Well, there are several bridges on Lake Fork, and it doesn't matter with Lake Fork. You can go anywhere and start fishing, and within 30 minutes with punch bait, you're catching fish.
Yep.
So to beat that heat, I found me a bridge that suit my needs, and I pulled in there. I got it baited when they get there for a little bit. I pull up there before they come in. It's not far from the boat ramp. Makes it real easy. Throw out a little cubes. Mm-hmm. When they get there, we'll go over and we're instantly catching fish as soon as we start fishing. And if you break a sweat, it's because the boat swung forward a little bit and you did get a little bit of sun on you.
Oh, I can't have that now, Folks, David, people are listening on all these great radio stations right now, and I'm so thankful to have them from all over. A lot of radio stations listening to us, but it also becomes a podcast. This does. iHeart and all that kind of stuff late after our stations run it. So people, if you're from Kalamazoo, wherever, Lake Fork is about, and Lake Tawakoni, about an hour, hour and a half at the most east of Dallas. That's where we're talking about. And we're talking about, right now, we're talking about catching mostly channel catfish, right, David?
Yes, absolutely.
And tell us about, well, this might be helpful, the depth where you are fishing, about how deep it is, and I'm going to bet you're pretty dang near bottom catching them, right?
Yes, sir. The fish I've been catching are in 10 to 25 feet of water. Start out the morning, they're right on the bottom, and they'll start moving up. You might have, before we're done, we'll maybe up a turn or two off the bottom. But I have found that the bigger fish usually come from the bottom.
Okay.
And with this thinking of mine, they're like vacuum cleaners. You've got that stuff thrown down there that you fed them, and they're coming along there sucking it up. And all you feel is just a little bitty nibble. And people expect a catfish just to take off and try to jerk the rod out of your hand. Well, that's not the case. These bigger fish are biting so light that you'd think it's one about 2 inches long. And then when the instant you pop him and set the hook in him, he say, "Oh no, looky here," or "Oh yeah."
Exactly.
But they are laying there, and it's nothing to catch 8 and 10 pounders. They're at Lake Fork, and the thing that I love about the lake the most is at Lake Tawakoni. If I take you, me, anybody else over there channel catfishing, I'm going to cull through to get, let's say, 75 keepers. I'm going to cull through 150 that's under 10 inches long to get those 75. At Fork, out of 75 fish, if I throw a dozen back, that's unusual.
Right.
The average fish there is just so much better than Tawakoni for channel catfishing. So it just makes it worth my while and worth people's while to go that little extra distance over there and catch those fish. It's well worth the trip.
Yep. Describe the size hook and the type of bait, anything like that might. I already know the answer to most of this because I fished with you so much. But yeah, describe your rigging.
I'm using a 3/16 to a 1/4 ounce lead. I use a bullet weight mash the end of it so I can set it however much leader under it I want. Most time I'm running about a 4-inch leader and a 4 or a 6 treble hook.
Yes, sir. Right.
And just very little leader most of the time. And when I drop it down there, I let that. Now this is how I lay my rod on the side of the boat to catch the bigger fish because I can't feel the bite holding it. Yep. And I lay that rod down on the edge of the boat, and if you just see that tip move just a little bit, you set the hook. I mean, it's just a touch, and those bigger fish are there. Now you reel up, and say 2 turns, and those pound and a half fish, you'd think it's going to jerk that rod out of your hand. But you drop back down there, and it's a nibble.
That's amazing. It's the fine points that a person that maybe goes fishing in the summer on their own, a few times, maybe a couple, 3 times a month. It's the little small things like that make success on not only catfish, but any kind of fishing. Yeah. And you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to feel that bite. And sometimes you do. At different times of the year, they're just, a channel cat will grab it and go at times.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, it's not happening like that. So, and even I know you watch the line. The line, you might start moving just a little bit. But you're thinking, well, that's probably a little bitty one. But that's when you're rearing, telling your people to rear back and set the hook, right? When you
yes, sir.
Any indication of a fish,
any indication whatsoever, it's just a nibble. Set that hook,
right?
You never know; it may be 10, 12 pounds,
right?
Down there.
Exactly. Now, people that fish a lot for channel catfish, especially, know that you can catch them on anything from a piece of hot dog to whatever earthworms. They'll eat. Yeah, they're pretty. Not real selective, but
no.
But a good punch bait that's got the right fiber that'll stay on the hook. I'm gonna guess you're using punch bait. I don't know. I would assume you
Yes.
are. Yeah, it's hard to beat that, isn't it? You know.
Punch bait is your go-to for this kind of fishing because you don't have to, do anything but open the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
dip your hook in it, and you're fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've used several baits over the years. Tony Pease has been doing me as good as any I've ever fished with, and that's our friend Tony Pennybaker.
Yep.
And his bait will catch you fish. It stays on the hook good. There's no complaints for me.
Yeah, it works good. I've used it and fished with Tony a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You introduced me to Tony years back, several years ago. Great guy, great fishing guide over at Twaukene. That's right. So,
That's right.
Yeah, so I'll say something else, too. I'm not going to mention this bait, but years ago, and I'm no judge, but it does catch fish. But you worked with me and 3 or 4 other guides years ago to develop a big company, a punch bait. You remember that? I know.
Oh, yeah. I sure do.
It works. Does it work as good as like Tony Pease? I don't think so because of the fiber. I mean, it's got the scent and all that, but and there's other baits, dough baits, if you will, that they hit it one time, it's gone. You don't have any no residual on the hook. But that kind of bait, folks. If you're going to catfish, get you a good Tony Pease as good as there is, but get you a good punch bait that's got fiber in it, and go for that. Now, blue catfish, something that I've learned the last several years, is blue catfish don't disappear in the summertime. Now, I know it's not red hot. Now, we're talking Twaukene now because
Right.
we've shifted over to blue catfish. You can catch them right on, maybe not all the big ones you catch in the cooler months, but you can still catch them in the summer, can't you?
Absolutely. I got on those fish last summer, and the thing that I noticed, they were the post-spawn fish. They were coming off the bed. They were hungry.
Mm-hmm.
They were empty. Started out catching a lot of males, there at the first, ended up catching the females in there with them. But further on into the summer, the bite got better, and they should be off the nest now. I'm going in the morning to test that theory.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people have been catching some large fish in the last few days, and I know if they can do it, I can do it. So I'm going to go do a little scouting tomorrow and put out a report on that sometime tomorrow. But I don't see any problem with going and catching fish from, 10 to 30, 40 pounds this time of year like I did last year.
Right. Yeah.
It's just one of them things. When they start, it'll continue on plumb into the fall until they go deep in the cold weather.
Yep. And then you can still catch them. You just have to change tactics and go deeper.
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Go deeper and start drifting or whatever and picking those fish up. I mean, me, I like that 6 foot water or less. That's what I like.
Yeah, me too.
I love that.
Me too. I do too. I caught my biggest blue. Look, people catch them a lot bigger than that every day, but a 53 pounder one time fishing with you in water about 3 foot deep. Never will forget that. That was I'm not a big fish person, David. I'm really not. And not that I don't enjoy catching a big catfish. I'd much rather if you say, Luke, I think I can get you on a 60 pounder. Well, that's great. I love that. But if you were to say, I tell you what, I know I can do. I bet we can catch a ton of them that weigh from 5 to 25 pounds. You know where I'd be, don't you?
Oh yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
Well, and the best bait. I'll just answer this one for you. Cut shad, fresher the better. You can catch them on meat. That's what they're looking for instead of the punch, as a rule.
Right. You can probably go in there. I don't ever do it. You could probably go in there with punch bait and fish it the way I fish the cut bait and catch the fish. But I don't really want to take a chance on hooking those fish deep with a treble hook. That's my problem.
I'm with you.
So,
I'm with you. Folks, our guest is David Hanson, and we're talking catfish. And David, as always, thanks for sharing your vast knowledge on catfishing. People are listening now, podcasts and everything else. And right now on the radio, how do they contact you if they want to come out there to Tawakoni and go for the blues maybe, or Fork and catch some channels? How do they call you?
They can reach me anytime at my cell number at 903-268-7391, or look up Little D's Trophy Catfish Guide Service at Lake Tawakoni, and check me out on Facebook.
Well, David, thanks again, buddy, and enjoy the shade under that bridge.
I'll do it.
Folks, let's talk a little outdoor cooking. Let me tell you about an electric smoker that I've been using for 15 years, I guess. Smoking Tex electric smokers. If you're tired of staying up all night keeping that wood fire burning when you're barbecuing, give Smoking Tex a try. They're made to last a lifetime. You can check them out at smokingtex.com. That's SMOKINTEX.com. For seasonings, anything to do with outdoor cooking, all kind of jerky seasonings, sausage seasonings, Butcher Packer Supply. That's butcherpackersupply.com. I think the website is butcher-packer.com.
I want to tell you about a one-stop shop for everything related to game feeders and fish feeders, Ultramatic feeders. I've been using components and feeders from Ultramatic feeders for 20-something years, I guess. They have the remote, which you can remotely activate your feeder with, the timer, which is the most simple timer that I've ever found on a game feeder, and then the eliminator. Check these out. They are worked on actually on centrifugal force, and they seal off the corn supply so coons and squirrels can't get to the corn. Check them out. Ultramatic feeders, you could go online to ultramaticfeeders.com.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the
Friends, this segment is made possible by Platinum Cadillac and Chevrolet in Terrell, Texas. Stop by and visit with my buddy Mr. Justin Rudd and his team of experts and let them put you in a new Chevy pickup or a Cadillac or whatever you might be in the market for. Also, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma. Check them out at ChoctawHuntingLodge.com. Also made possible by Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Well, folks, you know we do things off the cuff quite often here on our radio show. Let's go up to Montague County right now. That's right up on the Red River, and visit with my buddy Paul Moore. Now, Paul's been our guest many times, and you've heard me talking and bragging on Vineyard Max, the deer attractant. Well, this is Paul Moore. I will say I'm sorry for you hear some road noise in the background, but that's okay. Paul and his son and friends have been setting up a brand new deer lease for 2 days. Paul, are you a little bit tired, buddy?
We're a little bit tired, but not too bad, Luke. You know, it's just always so much fun to get out with your friends and family and get ready for the next the upcoming season. And we just believe that 2025 is going to be a great one out here.
I bet you it is. Well, I bet our friends listening can put up with a little bit of road noise because we got a good signal on you, Paul, and you're just driving down the road. You guys actually stayed in your campers and all for a couple of nights, and you've been setting up deer stands. Of course, folks, Vineyard Max also makes an awesome line of deer feeders, and I dare say you've maybe had a chance to get some of them set up, right?
We sure did. And, you know, out here in Montague County on the Brown Ranch where we're going to be hunting, Luke, as you know, it's about 5 hours away from where we live in Nacogdoches. So This really gave us a great opportunity to set up some of our large capacity feeders, which hold 1,300 pounds of corn. That keeps us from having to come out here quite as often. But, you know, we offer feeders from a 350-pound range all the way up to 1,300, and we were utilizing our large capacity feeders this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people listening right now are thinking about getting ready to do exactly what you guys have been doing, and For one reason or another, it's not uncommon for us deer hunters to hunt new ground. I wrote a newspaper article about that recently. I think I called it, the title was Hunting New Ground. But it's fun, it's exciting, it's a lot of work, but it's the kind of work that I never really minded doing. Of course, you guys, y'all moving from your Lampasas area lease all the way to Montague County and living in Nacogdoches, it required a lot of planning for the logistics of it. That's a major move for you guys, you know?
Yes, it was. We had my son Colin is a logistics guy.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job of getting everything organized. And so the first trip was doing nothing but moving the deer stands. The second trip, we didn't go to Lampasas. We came out to the ranch out here and got the water well going and all of that, and started setting up some stands. And then this last trip was moving our camp houses and getting connected to the septic and all of that, and then finishing up building some feed pens. But we hunt in Nacogdoches County, right where we live, on our own land that we own, a farm that we own. But it is always nice. We've always enjoyed hunting outside of Nacogdoches County periodically, and always having a deer lease other than our own land to hunt on makes it really nice.
It does. Deer hunters in general, love to hunt new places. As an outdoor writer for the past 42 years, you can imagine I've hunted a lot of places, and I've had deer leases, kept deer leases for years and years, but I don't know, probably 8 or 10 years ago, to cover the bases and do the hunts that I really need to do and write about the stuff I need to write about. I don't really have a hunting lease per se. Now, within a half a mile of my home, I've got a couple of big, total 200 or 300 acres land, friends that own, that let me hunt hogs and some deer here. In Kaufman County, I've got the Cotton Ranch out there. I hunt it quite a bit, and they tell me that's my private deer lease, but I'm a guest there, Paul. But
and you're going to also be hunting in Montague County some this year, though. Out there on Don's ranch. I
want to get with you guys. I'm looking forward to that. On into the season and doing some camp cooking and maybe. You were telling me about the size of some of those doe, the deer up in that area in Montague County. Now, I've hunted Jack County a bunch, and I've hunted where your lease for birds. Matt Brown used to have, he called it the SM Brown Game Bird Ranch, and I used to hunt. He had some fine dogs. He probably still does have some good pointers. I don't know, but he's a dog man. He really, especially pointers and setters. But I used to hunt that, and I saw some big deer back then. But you guys have seen, you said when you see deer, when it's 95 degrees, you see deer in the middle of the day on a place. Well, pretty good indication there's lots of deer, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it's very promising. We don't know that property at all. We're just learning it.
Yep.
But I'll tell you this: we were going out and setting up feed pens and filling our Vineyard Max feeders, and I tell you, we saw deer every time we went into the pasture, and we saw several really nice bucks that are, of course, in velvet and kind of hard to really determine exactly what they're going to be like, but they're still growing and they look really good. Bucks look healthy. Does, huge does. I would just estimate these does we were seeing were in the 120 to 130 pound on the foot range, off the hoof range, and that's a big doe.
You're not kidding. Compared to, I'm sure Lampasas. I've hunted Lampasas area a lot too. 102 pound doe is on the hoof. Even is a pretty good sized doe. They're big. Well, I want to let all of our friends know about that might not know about Vineyard Max, folks. Paul learned a long time ago, years back, that deer go crazy over the scent of grapes. Now, I've known that a long time. Muscadine grapes, I grew up in Red River County, and there are a lot of muscadines, but they start dropping about in a couple of 3 weeks, late August, September. But then it's gone. It's over with. And Paul, where I live right now, there's a lot of Mustang grapes. I mean, a bunch, and they're dropping right now, which seemed a little early to me, but they are. You can see they're on the ground right now. But the grapes they're here, and the critters, the deer especially, love them. Then they're gone. But you have come up with a process years back of drying them, and then you get the skins. I call them hulls, but the grape skins from wineries, dry them out. You've got a process. I don't understand all of it, but you do dry it. Then you hammer mill them. You mix rice bran, which I understand is a lot of good stuff for deer in that, protein and all, in rice bran. And you also mix corn chops with that grape. I have hunted out in West Texas, and I've written about it. We filmed it with Larry Weishuhn and Jeff Rice and I on A Sportsman's Life. I've talked about it a lot on the radio. Those deer out there in Sterling County, where Larry's lease was last year, there are no grapes out there, none, zero. No wild grapes, and no wineries that we're aware of. Those deer, that's how we shot the doe. We're reducing the numbers of doe on that lease, Paul. You know the whole story.
Yes, sir.
The feeders, I mean, nothing but bucks. The bucks dominated those feeders, but excuse me, the doe were staying away. So we baited areas, and they could smell that. They could smell those grapes, and they came in like, hey, wait a minute, somebody's giving me some more grapes, and I know those deer had never smelled or eaten a grape. There's no way they could have.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you, that's another thing that we're excited about is trying out Vineyard Max out here on the Brown Ranch in Monteith County. We like to field test in different parts of the state, and so we're excited about that. But you're right, Luke. You know, we thought we were making flower bed mulch when we started this process, but we just couldn't keep the deer out of it. And quite a journey it's been. It's been so much fun. But now being able to bring that vineyard to the woods and allow hunters to use something that's so unique, it's natural, it's great for the deer love it. It's kind of a win-win for everybody. And it helps out Sage's Vintage with their disposal program for the byproduct. Mm-hmm. And it is great for deer hunters in the state of Texas and beyond to have this unique product to use out in the field.
It is. And folks, I've used it to, and I wrote an article recently, but when you're setting up a new feeder somewhere, well, the deer are going to find that corn. That's what most of us are feeding right now. I've got 2 feeders near the house on this land that I hunt. The deer already know, and the hogs that I hunt a lot know where it's at. But put some of this out. Now, they're going to find your corn, but it might be a while before they do. I'm a firm believer, Paul, that scent from the grape hulls, they smell that quicker. And I do know for a fact they in their brain, they register that as food. They come in quicker. So it's a good way
and I will tell you, a lot of that aroma, Luke, that a lot of your listeners may not know. So a lot of the aroma comes from the red grape skins, and that those grapes have been fermented already, and then they're crushed, and then the white grapes are crushed immediately, and they have a tremendous amount of sugar residual in it. So it's that combination, I believe, that really makes a difference with our product.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I think I remember you mentioning that to me. Well, Paul, you're still driving. You got a few more hours to get back to Nacogdoches, but vineyardmax.net, folks, I believe that's right, isn't it, Paul? Vineyardmax.net?
Yes, vineyardmax.net, and thank you so much for allowing me to hop on this morning on the way back and visit with you for a few minutes, Luke. What a treat for me.
It's fun for everybody because we're all thinking deer lease right now, and it's fun to talk to you after 2 or 3 days on the lease. And then I don't want to forget, friends, they also, Vineyard Max makes an awesome line of fish and deer feeders. And Paul, once they're on the website, vineyardmax.net, they can see places to, distributors or retailers, right?
Yes, our dealer locator is on there, and then all of our feeders are also on there, so you can look at all of the descriptions and specifications on our deer feeders on there as well, and you can purchase our deer attractant directly online as well.
Awesome, Paul. Well, you drive safely, and I'm glad you guys had a fun time, got that water well working, your camper set up. We just need deer season to get here, right?
You just can't wait. It is just right around the corner for us all, Luke.
For about the past decade, I've been hunting editor for Air Gun Hobbyist magazine. I think the only magazine devoted strictly to air gun shooting and hunting in the country. Well, in that length of time, I've learned quite a bit about big bore air guns and smaller calibers too. A spot to go to that if you're interested in air guns, you need to know about Pyramid Air. The website is PYRAMYD, pyramidair.com. They have anything and everything you need, from the guns themselves, the big bores or the smaller calibers, to the accessories. Just remember pyramidair.com, and there's a number when you get on the website if you need to call and talk to somebody. Give them a buzz, and they can fill you in on little details that you might need to know about shooting or hunting with big bore air guns.
The snowflakes fall as winter comes, and time just seems to fly.
Friends, this segment is brought to us by CVA muzzleloaders. In my opinion, the very best muzzleloaders in the world, the ones that I shoot. You can check them out online, cva.com. Kubi's Wild Game Processing and Kubi's Restaurant in Dallas, and Vineyard Max, maker of some awesome deer attractant and some very fine game feeders and fish feeders, located down in Nacogdoches, Texas. Check them out at vineyardmax.net. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed our show as much as I have today. We've had some interesting guests and a lot of good knowledge passed along, but we haven't checked in with guide Bill Carey, Striper Express, Lake Texoma. Bill has guided up there for many, many years. He runs the show now and has forever at Striper Express. Let's get some updates. Bill, thank you for spending some time and talking stripers with us today.
Well, good morning, Luke, and all y'all out in radio land.
Good morning to you, buddies. I've seen some pictures that you guys have been posting on Facebook, and I'm seeing some big stripers in those pictures. So it's summertime. Give us a kind of a rundown. I do know this, that you're going to be on the water at maybe just a tad before first light. You're going to get it done before that sun starts baking everybody, right?
10-4. It's fast and furious. We board at 6 a.m. Run 10 miles and hope to find a school of surface and stripers, and you get an hour and a half of filling topwaters. And then in a perfect world, perfect day, they sound, and they stay grouped up in a big school, and we chase them with electronics, and we rip slabs. Then you get about an hour and a half of that, you'll be catching, and then you won't. It's over. When it's unanimous, your guide explains it's over. Get some wind in your face. You could be 20 miles from the harbor. Get back, take pictures, have your guide clean them, and shake hands, because you won't know it's warm till you hit land, but it's warming up fast. And usually about 11 a.m., we're shaking hands and go find some air. Mission accomplished.
You've got that down, Pat, and that's exactly what happens too. Let's talk about the topwater bite, and let's talk about actually catching them on topwaters. Now, the Chapo is one. I don't know. It's an action bait, and it just makes a lot of surface. It disturbs a lot of water. That Chapo is maybe my favorite. I like the one that I've got on the end of the rod at the moment. But the pencil popper, it's a good one. But retrieving it, I watch you. I walk if you got that pencil popper, that head's just bobbing left to right, and it's coming to you. Walking the dog. Is there any real technique? I mean, honestly, other than just keep it popping little short pops and keep it moving, or? Well,
about the only time you need to really know what you're doing is if the fish short strikes.
Mm-hmm.
If he blows up on it and he misses it, you got to wait for your plug to appear, float back to the surface, and it's a little bit of a trick. You can learn it. You reel your line tight, a couple cranks, and just twitch that rod tip enough to make that bait rattle and move maybe a foot, and boom, that fish finds it again and he nails it.
Oh my gosh, my adrenaline, just the thought of it. Yeah, and that is, it's so easy to say, is if they strike it and they don't get hooked, let it set for a second and then do what you just said do. But that's easier said than done. That fish, you've seen a big old swirl out there on top, and you felt him. Sir. Maybe you felt him for just a second, and then all of a sudden you got, what are you going to do? Pull hard. Don't do that.
Yes, sir.
It's hard not to, though, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah, you've done it so many times. Everybody's got to do it at least once, and then you settle down because it's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. It gets you. And that Chapo, it's not like that. You just
bingo.
Yeah, tell people that haven't used a Chapo how you work.
I'll tell you what, folks. When that came out, okay, we're sponsored by Berkeley, and this Chapo is a copy of more popular Whopper Plopper.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that back section of the lure that spins and makes that plopping noise, and Luke has got it down. He is deadly with it, and it's just a straight retrieve. Keep that thing plopping. Again, if the fish strikes at it and misses it, you stop for just a second, and then crank it again, and just keep coming, plop, plop, and boom, they hit it again. Because, if they don't just catch it in their mouth, you got to fish them under the hook. That's the trick.
And there, the thing I like about fishing the Chapo, there's always steady pressure on that lure. You've always got there, when you're walking the dog with a topwater plug, there's a pause. There's a pause. There has to be just an instant of slack line. It has to be. When you twitch your rod back and that thing moves a foot, well, you got a little slack. But that Chapo, when he hits it, it's almost like a slab fishing subsurface, because it's bang. He's there, isn't he? I mean, you've got.
They don't miss it much. They don't miss that much. That's for sure. It's a deadly plug, and it's on all of our rods, and we got the pencil poppers on the others.
Rigged and ready to go. One tip that, not that I'm an expert, but I've had so much fun with you guys doing this, is when you're rolling that Chapo or that pencil popper, whatever topwater plug you've got, you're fishing that thing until it gets to the boat. I'm talking about until you pick it up out of the water, aren't you, Bill?
Anytime your plug is in the water, you're in the strike zone. Good point. I've seen them raise the plug where the bottom hook is out of the water and see a fish come from nowhere. And even a seasoned guy doesn't have a chance because it's so close. It wraps that rod against that boat. It goes zzz, zzz, pow. You just can't. He's got all the power and all the strength.
And it happens so fast. That's right. That's one thing about striper fishing that it's kept me coming back for. I'm a lot like you. I was in my 30s, early 30s. Yeah, when I first discovered Texoma, and man alive, not that I don't, as an old outdoor hook and bullet rider, I fish far and ride about everything, but oh my gosh, it's always a treat to get up there at Texoma and catch them. Bill, Striper Express, you can Google it, you can Facebook it, you can go to striperexpress.com. It's so easy to find, but lodging is available right there within a minute or two of the dock at Mill Creek where you headquarter.
Sure.
So if they want to call the office there, that's a good way to do it too, isn't it?
All right. Yeah, folks, you can always call. We'll fix you up whether you want to drive in or spend the night. Our number is 903-786-4477. That's 903-786-4477.
Thank you, Bill. And then a lot of people, I get some, each month I'll get several emails from people that know about Texoma and maybe have a question or whatever. That Striper Express, talking about fishing up there is a big deal. The Panhandle of Texas, all over, people, it's a destination. So I appreciate you, Bill, being with us and sharing some information. And here in a week or two, I'll get back with you and we'll do this again. How about that?
All right, brother. Yes, sir.
Well, friends, there is our Lake Texoma update from Mr. Bill Carey, and that wraps our show up for this week. I want to thank all of our guests. I always want to thank all of our fine radio stations for running this show. I want to thank you for listening. And I'll remind everybody, if you ever want to contact me, you might want to be a guest on our show, and you're more than welcome. You need to go to my website, which is catfishradio.org, and just email me. Send me an email. You might have something you want to share with all of our friends. But very easy to contact, and I promise I'll get back with you. Next time, next week, right here, I want you back with me. We're going to have some more fun talking hunting and fishing. Folks, that about wraps our show up for this week. I've enjoyed being with you, and I hope you've had a good time, too. And, folks, we're also brought to you by the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma, located about, 45 minutes west of Hugo, Oklahoma, owned by the Choctaw Nation. It's about 45,000 acres of awesome mountain, country, hills, valleys, loaded with game. Lots of eastern turkey, and they do eastern turkey hunts if you're looking for a spot to hunt turkey in the spring.